where's my notes? I was gonna do. Oh, by the way, you know what? Nah, I think we'll end with the go f yourself. Here is. I put my notes together because I was gonna do a report. Why not do it now? All right. I want to let you guys know something because a lot of young fans out there may not be aware of this. Okay, you've heard of John Elway, obviously, right? Maybe you didn't see him play. Well, in John Elway's first year, his completion percentage was 47%. He had 7 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Okay, in his second year, which is where Zach is, same age by the way, his completion percentage went up to a whopping 56%. He had 18 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Okay. Now they did make the playoffs. Okay. But he had a good team. All right. Now, year 3. All right. This would be 2023 for Zach. 54% completion percentage, 22 touchdowns, and 23 interceptions. Okay, that's the first 3 years of John Elway's career. He does not break out really until year 4, which, to tell you the truth, was very similar to year 2. A little bit better though. Okay, and by the way, they lost Super Bowl that year. All right, let's now go to Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, basically sat his first 3 years. 16 pass attempts year 1, 15 pass attempts year 2. Finally gets to play year 3. Made only 1 start against the Cowboys. Threw 28 passes in that game. And finally started full-time in year 4. Okay. So Zach was thrown in to the Wolves immediately as a rookie. Aaron, able to basically sit almost for about 4 years, till his 4th year. And by the way, the first year, the Packers were 6-10 with him as a quarterback. It wasn't until Aaron Rodgers' 5th year that he started to show signs of being a star. Okay. Keeping in mind also, okay, Patrick Mahomes, who did he have the luxury of playing with? An organization, a steady organization with a legendary offensive mind like Andy Reid. I'm not saying he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, but he's still a legendary offensive coach. Tom Brady, who did he get to have success with? Excellent foundation, maybe the greatest coach that ever lived, okay? Zach comes in last year, rookie head coach, rookie offensive coordinator, keeping in mind the offensive line wasn't very good. And don't forget who his weapons were at the end of last year when he came back from the injuries. It was Jeff Smith and Braxton. Remember, Braxton was his number 1 receiver the last several games of the season. Braxton's a good player, but he's your 4th best wide receiver on a really good team, like he is right now with the Jets. Okay, so right there, that was year 1. Don't forget, he missed 4 games as a rookie last year. Then gets injured in the preseason, doesn't play until week 3, so doesn't get to play with his teammates for most of the preseason, doesn't get to play with them during the first few games of the season. And now he's, by the way, I believe Zach, is he on, what game is Zach on? I believe right now Zach is on like his 17th game. I think he had 17 starts last week, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's something like that. So all in all, Zach really has barely played like a second full season as an NFL starter yet. Okay. Oh, and by the way, when Zach was at BYU, and it's not like BYU is like Alabama or a quarterback. They used to be famous for quarterbacks back in the day, 40 years ago, but not anymore. And I just want to bring it up because basically it's not like he was getting the greatest coaching there either. But as a true freshman, modest numbers. Sophomore, modest numbers. 3rd year as a college player, which was his final year, he threw for 73% with a 33-3 touchdown to interception ratio, averaged over 300 yards a game, 11 yards a pass, 10 rushing touchdowns. Okay. And I got one more for you. How about this? 2 more for you. Brett Favre, okay, threw 4 passes in year 1, had an 18-13 ratio year 2, had a 19-24 ratio in year 3. That's right. And they went to the playoffs that year. And Brett Favre threw 19 touchdowns and 24 interceptions. Okay. Didn't break out till year 4. All right. Lastly, Geno Smith. We'll be playing Geno Smith this year. Remember, Jet fans? Geno Smith. The bashing of Geno Smith. I'm not saying it's going to take Zach till he's in his 30s. That's not why you draft somebody as high as the Jets drafted Zach. That's not what I'm trying to say. The overall point I just wanted to say here is that it's funny. Somebody criticized Zach, I heard a couple of days ago, about him being too loose with the ball. He's got to stop with the turnovers and stuff. He was on his first 3 games that he came back. He didn't throw 1 interception. Not 1. Okay, so he comes back from the injury. He throws no interceptions over his last few games, whatever. He finally has 1 bad game. By the way, Josh Allen just threw 2 interceptions in this game. They were bad, weren't they? If the uniforms were switched in this game today, I guarantee you would have thought, Zach must be playing for the Bills. Those were Zach Wilson interceptions. It happens even to the best guys. The point is, he's a young quarterback. And I believe in Zach the way that I believe in Joe Douglas and the way that I believe in Robert Saleh. Maybe not as much as Joe. Joe Douglas is, my belief has always been 10 out of 10. Saleh, it was probably 8.5 to 9 before this year. Now it's 10. Now I'm even with Joe. Zach, well, obviously I wasn't really sure. And I think right now I'd have to say I am about at an 80% with Zach. That he is going to be the guy that is going to be our quarterback the next time that we're going to be, a perennial playoff team and a potential Super Bowl contender. And this is the thing that you just have to do as a fan is chill the F out. Okay? Just chill out. Now, I know the quarterbacks, look, I understand it. It's a different game than it was years ago. The quarterbacks years ago, I just showed you with Aaron Rodgers. These guys used to just do his patience. Forget it. You can even go way back. Guys used to sit a long time. Sometimes they played right away, but a lot of times they just sat and they waited because there wasn't free agency. You didn't have to play him, and you got to get him in there quick before you don't learn whether or not this guy's a quarterback and that you want to invest a lot of money in. That's an issue. You got to find out really fast in the NFL nowadays. So it's a different game, and quarterbacks that Zach and a lot of them shouldn't be thrown out there to the wolves, especially when you're on a bad team. Maybe if you're on a good team, you could throw a young quarterback out there right away and feel like, I got a good offensive line. I've got good structure here. I have a pretty good idea that we can do okay here, and I'm not going to lose this kid psychologically or for whatever reason. Zach had to go out there and play with a pretty bad team last year, and still you could tell he has the head. He's got the moxie of the type of quarterback that is going to be able to still grow with the rest of the team. Anyway, I just wanted to get that point across because it was driving me crazy. And what did Zach do to answer his critics after the worst game of his season? He comes back with the best game of his season. Zach had an excellent game. He had one opportunity where he had a rush, and as soon as he thought that he should have, threw the ball away. Okay? Great decision by Zach. Then, late in the game, on that 3rd down, doesn't force it, holds the ball, takes the sack. Nothing wrong with that. Kick the field goal, you basically win the football game. So, all in all, sometimes you need to have a game like the way Zach had a couple weeks ago, last week, because I can imagine. We heard what Joe Douglas said in the press conference. Just about everybody was saying it. We have a good enough team. You can't be careless with the ball. But you also have to be confident enough, like he was today, to just throw the football. Throw it with aggressively. Throw it with confidence. This is the best that I've seen Zach throw the football in that manner. He was zinging it all day. He wasn't perfect on every pass, but I love the way that he was from the get-go. Instead of him, and maybe there was a part of that too from last week that helped. Maybe those first few weeks of not turning the football over, and it's not like he had any, major games. I'm not trying to sit here and say he threw the ball 300 yards and had 4 touchdown passes today. But it was clearly a better game from Zach. There was just no question about it. And this is, again, maybe what happened last week was the best thing for Zach because it didn't take him 2 or 3 weeks. Immediately, the very next game against the best team in your division, against the team that is favored to win the Super Bowl, you went out there and played not only your best game of the season, you might have played one of your best top 2 or 3 games of your career. So I love it. The running game was fantastic. Credit the offensive line. The backup right tackle made one really disastrous play. Other than that, the offensive line did a very good job, especially in the run game. You know, I think Zach, for the most part, only ran around for his life once. I think that says something. The defense was fantastic. They did not allow big plays. So that was huge. Sauce comes up with an interception. We had 2 picks. I don't know, and I don't know what was going on with Josh and those interceptions, but we took it. We take it. He did not have his best game. You take those things and you run with it, and that's exactly what we're going to be able to do going into the bye. So who would have thought it? 6-4 6-3 going into the bye after that schedule, and now we head into the second half of the schedule with a much more manageable slate of games. But look, we're still down maybe our best lineman. We're still down our top running back. There's still a long way to go. This is about trying to put yourself, which I think we've done now in the first half of the season, in position to be playing meaningful games in December. I feel like we've definitely done that. The next step is going to be at some point, about 2 or 3 games after the bye, at some point, it's going to be about, can we start thinking about, hey, we can make the playoffs now. Let's go get this. Okay. It's too early to say this. Okay. But that's going to be the mindset coming out of the bye after the first 2 or 3 games. Let's think about more than just contending in December, but let's get to the postseason. Wow. Like I said at the very beginning of the show, I hope we can do this a lot more. It was awesome. I said it in the beginning of the show too. I was going to try to have fun with it. I wasn't very upset today. There were a couple of instances I got a little, angry. But I mean, if you just take a look at last week's reaction video to this week's, I mean, it's like night and day. And that's what happens when you play games where you kind of feel that, there's no pressure. Because last week it was pressure to beat the Patriots. We got to beat the Patriots, man. This is the best time that we have to beat the Patriots. And then that interception, that pick 6 that turned the entire game away, that we should have won the game. There was a lot of reason to be aggravated and upset last week. So it's great to feel this way and to know that, even though we're not going to play next week, what a lasting memory of beating the best team in the NFL.